You have your papers? We're not going to share, yes. Don't move that to the side. Okay, so we touched on in the beginning of this Inyan. What's the Shiloh? The Shiloh we want to talk about is that you bought something, you started using it. Now the way you used it, where's the papers? Yeah. And the staple. Yeah. The way you used it, you ended up damaging the item. Now you want to return it. In its damaged state.
Are you talking about damage or just wear and tear?
No. You did something specific to it. So the Rambam, very uncharacteristic of the Rambam, because if you know anything about the Rambam is not mechadish, you know halachas generally. The Rambam has everything in the sources in the Gemara. So the Rambam brings down the Gemara that we spoke last time, which is Reish Lamed Beis Sif Yud Aleph, talking about when you shechted and you found a treifa, and not a common treifa. So when you shecht and you find a treifa, and it's not a common treifus, so then the halacha is that you could return the animal. What's the taina of the moicher? The taina of the moicher is, but what do you mean? But you're giving me back. If you wanted to return it, if I had known it was a treifa and you were going to return it, I would have sold it as an animal for plowing. I wouldn't have sold it. Now that you shechted it and you're giving me back, you damaged my item. You can't just go ahead and shecht my thing and then say, hey, it's a treifa. So the Rambam says...
Maar ze mogen niet schieten. Heeft ze gezegd?
Ik kan redden wegen dem nog te zeer. Ja. It's a good hour. Okay. So the Rambam shows from that halacha that if the lekeach does something, which is the derech to do it, it's the derech to do it. It's the normal way that understanding of the deal was that you were going to do that. Even if now that you're returning it to me, you're mazik it, then you can't taina that I damaged your item. Okay? Now this is talking about even hezek that neither one of the parties knew. But that's the Rambam's mechadish halacha. So that's in Sif Yud Gimel, which you should have in the paper. Sif Yud Gimel. Sif Yud Gimel says the following: Hamoicher davar shayamum b'memkarai. If you sold something that had a mum, the asa boy alakeach mum acher, and then the lakeach went ahead and he did another mum. Koydem sheyavad alai hamum harishon. So what happened was that koydem sheyavad alai hamum harishon, he went ahead and he made a new mum in it. So the lakeach didn't know. The lakeach didn't know what was that there was anything wrong. He went ahead and made a mum in the item. Im asa davar shedarkoi la'asoisoi potter. If what you did was the normal way to use the item, then you're potter. V'im shina v'asa mum acher koydem she'yavada loy hamum mavzir hamekach lebailov u'mishalom dmei hamum shasas. So for example, let's say you did something normal. Then you're potter. So let's take a grill, for example. If once you use the grill, then you want to return it to the store, it doesn't really have any value to it anymore. You can't really sell it anymore. So I'm not saying you're a mazik it, but you're giving them back something you can't really do anything with it anymore. Now, after you grilled it, after you did a barbecue on the grill, now you realize there's some sort of problem with the grill. So it would seem like you're allowed to go ahead and return it. You sold me something. What?
So you exchange it and return.
Okay, as far as we're concerned, that's the same thing. The point is that I'm getting back my money. Now they're telling me that they'll give me another one. Okay, for this purposes, the point is it would be allowed. Now, that's an interesting halacha, but it says like this: Let's say before you knew about the mum, you went ahead and you did something strange. Your kids went ahead and took a hammer and banged the top of the thing. It made a massive dent in the grill. Then, even if you give it back, you have to pay for the damage. Why? Because that damage had nothing to do, you had no rights, you had no right to do that. That's a little bit strange. You understand the point I'm saying? If the damage that you made was normal, then you don't have to pay. But if the damage that you made was not normal, it was not the derech to have done that, then you have to pay for it. Because the mafreya, retroactively, once you decide that you don't want it anymore, Shmuel, you can sit up here. I'm uncomfortable. Retroactively, it's not your item. And since retroactively it's not your item, now you damaged his thing. So you gotta pay.
So I had the same thing for you. Let's say use the grill. It wasn't my grill. I used it was the same thing.
What?
Saying it was very saying the same. It's the same.
So what's the difference whether you did the thing which was the derech or not the derech?
That's the same question.
So it's the same question. So the Nesivis asks it as a kasha. He says l'cha'ira this is mamash an oinus because I had no idea that it wasn't mine. I thought it was mine, and if it's mine, I'm allowed to do it. Now l'mafreya turns out that you sold me something that was damaged, and now it's not mine, and now I'm a mazik, so I'm an oinus. And Taisus sold even other mazik adam muad lo'ilam, but oinus gomer your potter. So Frikta Nesivis Akash over here, Sevkatan Hey, says, Mamash oinus gomer. This is what Nesivis says. So, the Nesivis has the Chiddush over here, but I want to, before we say this Chiddush, let's introduce the next simon. We'll see it's Chiddush, a little bit of a Chiddush. So but that's his Kasha. So we try to have to a little bit understand what's going on over here. So, I think once you see the next sif, we'll understand it better. Okay? Kana sadin destroy. You bought a sadin, you bought fabric, and you ripped up the fabric, lasses cholok. You cut it down to size. And then you found out the mum. You found out that the fabric was not a good quality fabric. You realize the fabric was a very cheap fabric. And you can't really create the garment that you want with the fabric that he sold you. But you can't give him back the roll of 100 yards because you cut it all up into pieces. So now he has nothing to do with it anymore. He could sell it as a cheaper fabric. He can't sell it as a more expensive fabric. But now, what are you giving him back? You're giving him back cut up pieces. So the Rambam, the same thing. It says, you can give it back to him. And if you made it into a baguette and you don't like it, then he even has to pay you for the value of the baguette. Okay? But there's two words over here in the Shulchan Aruch. Very important two words. If you read the two words, it says, so this is theoretically the same halacha as shechting the animal. You went ahead, you did something which is the derech. I told you I'm buying fabric to make garments out of it. So this was all clear. But it says the Shulchan Aruch, kana sadin, b'kroi, lasus cholok. Because you cut it up, that's how you realized that it wasn't a good fabric. So the Prisha's medayik from there, that it's talking about the type of mum that you can only recognize once you cut it and try to use it. This is not a type of mum that you could feel by feeling it, or that you could notice by looking at it. The only real way to find out this mum is when you cut it up and you try to create a garment out of it, and it doesn't work. It doesn't sew well, it doesn't cut well, it doesn't this, doesn't that. Now you come back to the guy. Look, I tried to do it. We made up that you knew good and well what my intention was. I did the thing which I told you I was going to do, and when I did it, I realized that it's a mum. So then the guy's off the hook. Why would the Sma say that? Because what's the source of this halacha? Again, the source of the halacha is the Rambam. Where did the Rambam get it from? The Rambam got it from the halacha of Shchita. Shchita is the same thing. You can't realize it's treif until you shecht it. So therefore, the Rambam only has a source for something which is equal to that case, which is you can only find the mum after you've already cut it. What? Right, but the point is that the problem that you have with it is only once you go ahead and did it. So, therefore, it does seem that.
Shmita made enough, that came about, right? Whether the end was more than a year.
Well, that's only because we have to get out of the rule of suffix. That we have to get out that it wasn't in the done in the rishus of the lekeach. But here, if the fabric is the fabric, it didn't change. Right? So in this case, once you realize the mum, you realize the mum. Now, that would, if you go with the prisha, it would come out that if this was a type of mum that you could have checked before, it seems that the responsibility of the moicher, of the lokeach, is that before you destroy the guy's thing, if there's a mum that you could see, you gotta check. Now, so that's what it would seem like from the Shulchan Aruch. So let's take our grill case.
There'll be enough, how they're selling it, right? If they tell you that.
It's sold as a perfectly new item, and then you went ahead and grilled the thing, and then you notice.
They tell you it's flawless, it's perfect, all these different things that make you not feel the need to be boidik it. That should make enough, Masha and Cain.
If he told
if they tell you
you're
it's
allowed to
as
be
is, and they
soymech
tell
on
you,
him, right?
Right.
You're allowed to be soymech on him, so it could be. We spoke that out before. So it would come out like this: that let's say, let's say you bought a grill, and then you went ahead and you grilled it, and now it's all dirty, greasy, and all this stuff. And the store doesn't really want it back, and you go back and say, look. It was on for an hour. It starts flickering all over the place. Doesn't cook this stuff well. This is not working properly. Okay, so you have a taina. But let's say you say, Lamaisa, there's a dent over here. There's a dent over here. The dent was there before you cooked. Why didn't you look? What now you notice it? After you've already greased up the whole thing and ruined it, and now I can't do anything with it. Now you notice the dent. So according to the prisha, you wouldn't be able to return it because that not mikoyach that dent, because that mum, now you've ruined it and you can't really sell it, and that mum was your responsibility to have checked before.
So you call it posheya?
So you're basically a posheya now at that point. Okay? So it seems like the responsibility of the moicher is something that he could check is to check. The lokeach, yeah. However, this is where your thing comes in. The Nesivus has a chiddush here. The Nesivus says that if this is something that the moicher knew about, then the lokeach is potter, because like we said before, he's really an oinus over here. So he's not an oinus gomer. But if it's something that the moicher knew about, then you can't hold the guy responsible, and I had the right to continue assuming it was mine. If it's something that even the moicher didn't know about, it'll be different. So bottom line is like this. Let's just go over the what comes out, the ikra halacha of this. You use someone's thing, but often you can't really return it anymore. You use the guy's thing, but often you can't really return it anymore. Meaning you damaged it. Do you have to pay or not? So if it's something which the pashtus halacha would be, if it's something that the only way to realize the mum is by using it, and you did something which is normal, then you do not forfeit your right to return it, and you're not chayav for the damage. But if it's something which you could have noticed before, you may have lost and forfeited your right to return the item. Okay, now that's really summed up in this sif. Okay, now there's I think there's quite a few examples of this. Okay, this is the klal. Now I want to get into the next. So this is the klal. The Rambam learns out that if you did the normal thing in the normal usage, even if it ends up being that you can't return it, the guy has no value in it anymore. It's on the seller, unless it's something that he could have noticed without that.
How does this play Lagabi Dina de Mapusastina? Right. So in other words, he has Goyish, mafkeach, and he treats them differently because there's certain standards versus from people. So you're going to make a tiny. You're going to say, so from a person, you shouldn't do this. Say, look, but
in these things, b'derech klal, you're buying it al das, the rules of the store. You're buying it al das, the condition of the store, like you said. If you make a condition that even if I return it to you, I'm going to give you a new one, you could make that das. So over here, the din and the mechus din is a little less of an issue because the whole point is once there's din and the mechus din, that creates a das. It creates what the das is. So al das came, that's good enough. Okay? Now, let's go into Sif Tezvav, which gets into whatever everyone else mentioned about the whole Costco thing. The whole buying in the, you buy your air conditioner for the summer, and then you don't need it anymore, so you return it, and you're done.
Allow it anymore.
What?
They stopped allowing it because of refrigerant.
Because what?
Because of the refrigerant, they don't allow any returns of water.
You can't return air conditioners anymore.
Pick a different example, a microwave.
Right. So whatever it is. So you bought, can you return something after you've used it? So obviously, if your das was to do that the whole time, it's going to become very clear in a minute that it's total gzela to do that. If it's gzela, it's also to do it even from a guy. So, because the way we're understanding, retroactively, it was never yours. So you essentially used something which was never yours. Right?
So, the case that was mentioned earlier in Shul, if somebody got something that was broken, but the mice that's usable right now, and I need the zon, I need whatever I bought.
That's because you bought it b'shas ma'isa to use.
Same, but I see that it's broken.
No,
right
so
now.
your usage. That's far was that by using it, you're not moichel your rights to bivatal the mekach. It's malchus oinus, and that's not this case. It's not this case. So look at the next halacha tezvav. Hamoicher karka lechaveroi v'achal perei seah. Okay, so you sold a piece of karka, and the buyer's on it, and he uses it, and he plants, and he gets the fruits. He doesn't like the karka anymore. He realizes that there's something wrong. There's a problem with the field. If he wants to, and it's enough grounds to nullify the deal, he's got to return the fruit that he ate. Just give back the fruits. And if it wasn't a field with fruits, it was a house. Vidarban, he lived there. He retroactively has to pay rent. You got to pay rent. You bought the house, you lived there for 2 months, and then you realize there's foundation problems, there's this problem, there's those problems. Forget it. I don't like this whole deal. And he returns on the deal, whatever. Here's where Dinama, okay, I don't know if this is realistic in today's day and age, but you go back retroactively, you have to pay rent.
Didn't we do another sif that said the opposite? That you could just return it because it's mekatos?
It's mekachtois.
Right.
But you used it, and you used an item that you would normally charge for. Over there, could be we were talking about something which is not the derech to charge for anyway. So fine, you wore a guy's shirt. You wore the shirt, so you're going to pay for one usage of a shirt. There's no rental market for shirts. So it doesn't have a value. The wearing of the shirt has no value. Okay? But living in a person's house for a month has value. So therefore you evaluate the value, you estimate the value, and he has to pay. Now, there's a machlokes over here in the Sma. Why do you have to pay? We had a shayla, which I didn't verify the shayla yet, but why do you have to pay? So the Sma is one side that the reason you have to pay is because of ribbis. Anyone understand the ribbis point here? What's the ribbis?
You're getting that.
Right? The buyer gave $1,000 for the house, okay? And then in a month from now, he goes there and says, I want my $1,000 back. So now it's like I lent him money. So he had the $1,000 for a month. He gave me back, and in the meanwhile, because I let him have the $1,000, he's giving me free usage. So the buyer turned into a lender retroactively because the money he gave was not to buy anything; he was lending him money, and retroactively he ends up back with his $1,000 plus a free month of living. So therefore, it would be ribbis. But says the Sma, you don't have to come on to that. It's a long Sma. The Sma ends up saying you don't have to come on to that. And says the Sma, it's this whole long Sma in Lamed Gimel, he ends up saying it's not up to that. The nafkamina is it's al zenenev zelechaser. It's zenenev zelechaser, zenenev zechaser, whatever it is. It's because you lived in his house and you benefited from it. You have to pay for it. It's the concept of adar b'chatz chavera, right? If you live in someone's house, you got to pay for the rent. Maybe it is chaser, whatever shacharisa, whatever it is. So you have to pay for the use. Machavus and I were thinking nafkamina, and this is the whole thing. So what's exactly the mechayiv of netting? Could be it's like a gzeila dikadin. You have someone thing without paying for it. So probably the nafkamina is if the seller was a guy. If the only reason to pay is because of ribis, you're allowed to take ribis from a guy. But if the reason is that you're stealing his use without paying for it, you're not allowed to steal from a guy. So if the reason to pay is ribis, so if the seller would be a guy, you wouldn't have to pay. But if the reason is then of zelechaser, and you're using someone's thing without paying for it, is a form of gzeila, so l'char it's also even if the seller is a guy. So memela, all these things, right? That appliances and stuff like that. There is a rental market for appliances. So memela, anything like that, it will be totally asur to do it. Not only asur, but some you're chayiv to pay for the rental. Now, if it's something which doesn't have a use, it could be you're not chayiv to pay, but it's still gzeil l'chatchila. Okay, so because you're still using someone's thing without permission. Just because there's no rental market for it doesn't mean you can go do it.
It's like a social mitas.
Yeah, it's like you are clearly setting up a case where you're retroactively not going. You know now, you know the future. You know that retroactively it's not going to be yours. Right? It's like it's going to happen retroactively, but you know it already. So you know now that it's not going to be yours in retroactively in a month from now. So therefore, you're using something that's not yours. You can't do that. If there's a rental market for it, it's like an appliance or something like that, you have to pay. So, now if it really happens in real life, you go to the store, and I don't think they're gonna charge. If there was real mum in the item, then I don't think they're gonna charge you that, but they're being moichel that. But they're not moichel this. They're not moichel to do it like lechatchila. So then you owe them the money.
Just don't do it.
Huh?
Just don't do
Obviously,
it.
so don't do it. Obviously, right?
Because you're not going to be able to pay them.
You're not going to be able to pay them. You're going to go there and say, by the way...
It's much worse. You're goslin that can't do tshuva.
Right. So, what are you going to do? Open an air conditioning gemach? Like the Gemara says, if you steal from the rabbin, what you do is you open up a bar for the oile regalim. So, okay, so this is an important halacha.
If it's a Goyish corporation, he can't possibly return it.
That's what I'm
That's
saying.
what I'm saying.
That's why don't do it.
So
You can't steal from a Goyish corporation
So
either.
the chor, this halacha tezvav is mefurish halacha that retroactively it's not yours, and when you used it, you used something which was not yours, and therefore you have to pay for the use, and obviously therefore you can't set up a situation where lechatchila that's what's going on. Okay? Surprisingly, no questions. Okay. So relatively obvious, I guess. What?
Right. So that goes to when you buy the chachila, knowing you're just going to return it as soon as you use
That's
it.
what I'm saying. So obviously you're gazing.
Right.
It's l'chor gzela. It's l'chor gzela to do that.
Sounds like going to Home Depot and borrowing an air conditioner, your chairs, and after sukkahs returning them.
Exactly.
Right,
That's
that's what I'm saying. That's
Which
exactly what we're referring
is
to.
how the whole Catskills operates.
Okay, so l'chora.
I mean, we gotta be easy on the Yidden and the Catskills, because most of those companies make so much money off of the Yidden to begin with. They're not really crying about the returned air conditioners.
If it's dangerous.
I'm not saying it's
Anyway,
wrong.
I think that's a very dangerous.
Everyone in the
Especially
Catskills
doesn't
now.
work that
Everyone in
way.
the Catskills now is Central Air. So let's forget the air conditioners. All right.
It's not cheshamish, but
So-
we just have to keep that in mind when we just disparage all.
But they
the
also
Yidden
understand it's a
and
cost of
Catskills.
business.
No, obviously, if you go into Best Buy and you tell them, I'm going to buy this, and I'm going to return it, they're going to tell you, fine, do it anyway. Why? A, because there's no way for them to really stop you. B, because they don't think you're actually going to return it.
So you could actually do that if I go to
I just
Costco
don't
and
know
say
if that
I'm
guy
buying
in
it,
the
I'm gonna
counter has
return
the
it.
authority to give you that permission. He doesn't know anything.
But there's nobody who owns the company anyway.
Okay, that's not true. That's not
He's a
true.
representative of the
There's thousands
company.
of bodies who go from that company.
I don't know that the cashier has, it's true, the place can do say that the cashier has some authority to tell you certain things, like, if he gives you change, or just don't worry about certain little things. I don't know that the cashier has the authority to tell you to steal the air conditioner.
It's like all these companies advertise that they say 100% money back guarantee. Because they're banking on the fact no one wants to go through the tircha. So they're not going to return it. They're going to discard whatever it is. So it's part of the game of the business.
Yeah, okay, fine. I'll go upon him. You see from this halacha how the Torah looks at it.
It says guarantee means you have to have a reason to return it. That's the key. It doesn't say get your money, when you're tired of using it.
Right.
What about if you're buying something at Costco? You're not buying it to return it. You're buying it to see if you like it. Like an electronic item, see if you like it. Not sure.
See, also,
But you're buying it there because you know you have the option of returning
you used it. You opened it up, you used it. Now you don't like it. Do you need to have a moment to return it?
No.
No.
You could return it 4 years later, 5 years later, no questions asked.
They said all das the fact that you're trying.
Maybe that's a different story.
Like
That's different, maybe, because you didn't do it al daskein. If you're doing it al daskein, it means the entire time you're using it that it's really his. That's the good point. Okay. Now, Indian, the fascinating simon in Shulchan Aruch is just to skip. So, next week I want to talk about is the whole Indian of when the middleman is just the retailer, but he himself didn't do anything to you. The mum that you found in the item, he really got from his wholesaler. So, where does the chain lead to? Okay, so we'll talk about that in Mr. Shem next week. But I want to talk about a fascinating simon in Shulchan Aruch, which is Reish Lamed Dalet. We're going to skip to that for now. And the shaila over there is that what happens if the next step. So now we're saying that if you used it and you damaged it and all this stuff, what happens if it was food and you ate it and then you realize there was a mum in the food? Now, if the mum was that bad, why'd you eat it?
Because he got sick.
Well, no.
He
The
got sick
case is that you
afterwards.
found out it wasn't kosher.
Oh.
That was the case. So you found out l'mafreya that it's not kosher food. Okay? So, l'maisa, you can't return it to him. You ate it already. But on the other hand, you realize that there's a mum in the food.
He told you.
Clearly, well, obviously, yeah. So clearly, if you found out before you ate it, you could kind of make a toast. We learned that from Treifa. We even learned last week, if it's a Suffolk Treifa, that the minhag's to be machmer, even though Chashmish put in your day, maybe you would split, you don't split it, because you say, I can't eat it l'maisa. Since I can't eat it l'maisa, so Shulchan Aruch paskins like this. In Sif Aleph and Sif Beis of Reish Lamed Dalet, it says, "Hashaycher es habachar u'machrei, v'noida shalei haro l'mumcha." Okay, this is the halach of a bachar. You're only allowed to eat it if there's a mum. Now, if someone's selling you bachar meat. Hey, this is bachar meat. It's kadosh. You're allowed to eat it. And then you realize the guy shechted it be'issa. There was no mum on it, or at least he didn't show it to a mumcha. Could be there was a mum, but the halach is that you rely on yourself. So then you go back to, by the way, which mumcha paskind on this mum? I didn't show it to a mumcha. I'm telling you, it had a mum. So long as it comes us about bachil, you're not allowed to eat it. So he sold it to you. Hasabana, okay.
This has to be Hasabana.
Shaloi rola mumcha masha achal v'yachzil lo sadam. You get full money back, even if you ate it already. V'anisha ma'abasim yad alakucha, you cover v'yachzil adamim, bury it and get back all your money. V'chein if you found a treifa, same thing. You ate it. You ate the entire animal, and then after you ate it, you go over to the person and you say, by the way, can I get a picture of the lungs or whatever? And you realize that it's a treifa. What would you do? So you sold me a treifa. Even if you ate it, you get back full money back. So it's chiddush more than, right? Because now you mamash don't have anything to give him back. You can't give him anything. You can't return it to him anything. But if he sold you something which is awesome, midiraisa, you get back your money. The Chiddush is, look at Tziv Gimel. I think it's in the packet. Aval. It's in Rish Lamed
Page 3.
Page 3. Aval Moichel Chaver Dover Isra Chilosu Medivrei Soifrim. Let's say he sold you an Isra Darbanan. He found out that it was Bishal Akum. Im Hayu Aperis Kayamim. If it's still there, I don't want Bishal Akum. I bought kosher food. You sold me something that's Bishal Akum. I'm giving it back. Maxis Aperis V'Noitel Damov. You can give it back, get back your money. But if you ate it, if you ate it, you don't get back your money. Once you ate it, if it's only Asam Derabanan, you can't get back your money. So, what's shot in that? Why, if it's an Asam Derabanan and you ate it, don't you get back your money?
Like the Suffolk trade.
So, it's not that we don't care about Asam Derabanan, because if you would have found it prior to eating it, you would have been able to get back your money. So now that you ate it, why not? Why can't you get back your money? So the Shema says two reasons. Number one reason the Shema says in Dalit over here in the corner, says the Dafka b'michshol d'isur deraisa kansu. One is it's a knas. This whole thing is a knas really. Now let's explain, why is it a knas?
Because you had the hanah.
The answer is, because really once you ate it, you got the value from the food. What was the value of the food? I had a Sheva brachas to make, and I needed chicken for the Sheva brachas. And the chicken for the Sheva brachas would have cost me $100. I spent $100, I served the chicken. I got the $100 with hanah. Olam haba, we're being so from now. Bottom line is, when it comes to, you got your $100 worth of chicken. And you served it, you ate it, and everyone's good, and it's fine.
Treif chicken's cheaper. Probably.
What?
Not kosher chicken would have been cheaper.
No, but in the hanah of eating it,
Well, that's the chef's place.
so memela like this, we'll see. So really, there could be a taina that there should not be a taina mekach tois once you ate it, because you got the hanah of it. So on that the Shema says, there's a reason why in Isser Deraisa you don't say that. One reason is it's a knas. The moicher was machshel. The moicher was machshel the lokach. He made the lokach do an avera. I want my money back for that. It's a knas. Okay? Number two is...
That's if the moicher knew it was treif.
Even if
not. At the end he was machshel. Number two is the ein achilas ha'oichel mechshav loy hana. There's a Gemara talks about this by Pikuach Nefesh. Should you if you have a Kollel on Shabbos, so should you feed him treif or should you shecht for him? So the Gemara says you should shecht for him because if you eat him treif, he's just going to get sicker, more sick. Because you don't give someone treif food and make him feel good. You're not going to feel good with that. So there's no ana from treif food. So retroactively, I didn't have ana. Now that it's treif, I can't have enough from that. That's what the Shema says. So, however, ein achilas ha'oichel mechshav lo'hana v'adar abba mitzar huloi she'avar al isser deraisa ma she'in kain ba'achal isser derabanan. But in isser derabanan, that's not the case. So, isser derabanan is different. So let's think about it. What's the difference in isser derabanan? So isser derabanan, A, they didn't make a knas for that. But then he says another svar. The Shema is learning here that the pshat is, you did get hana. You got hana. Right? So, since you got hana, then you have to pay for it. You have to pay for the hana. Now, why did you get hana? Aren't you upset that you didn't Nisar Darabanan? So, Dov, doesn't the Nesivos go with the Shema? I think you need the Nesivos to explain the Shema, no? Right. So this is a famous klal in the Nesivos over here. I've heard this B'Shem in the Nesivos many times. I didn't know where it was. It's right here on this sif. The Nesivos says, and the way they're masber the Nesivos, is that an Isser Deraisa is fundamentally different than Isser Derabanan. An Isser Deraisa, if the Torah asks for something, the item itself is like a Isser Chefza. It's like the thing itself has tumah to it. It's a horrible thing. The Torah located and isolated where this thing has a tumah on it, a spiritual problem, and you can't get enough from that. But in Isser Derabanan, the yesod of the Isser is listening to the Chachamim. The Chachamim didn't necessarily place an Isser Chefza on the Isurim Derabanan. The point of an Isser Derabanan is you're supposed to listen to the Chachamim. If a person did an Isser Derabanan B'Shoigeg, it could be fundamentally, it's not considered doing an Isser. Because he didn't rebel against the Chachamim. He didn't decide, I'm not listening to them. I would have loved to listen to them, I didn't know this was Isser. So it could be retroactively, he didn't do an Isser at all. That's an Asivas shtickle. That B'Shoigeg on an Isser Derabanan could be not an Aveira. An Aveira on an Isser Derabanan is only as much as you know that it's Isser and you're not listening. So therefore, the Shema is saying that an Isser Derabanan, retroactively, you got to the full Hana. Because I didn't really do an Isser. Okay?
So that's why you can give maybe a choiver Yishalakum?
I don't know about that. Because then you're treating this Derabanan differently than the Deraisa.
That case, if
Well, in the case of Shabbos, you're allowed to give him a...
Okay, I'm saying, I don't think it's because of this, that's what I'm saying. There is a kal. You give an Isser, but I don't think it's because of this. This is when you don't know. Once you know it's Asr, and you're treating it differently, then it's already a certain choimer that you're kind of lowering the cheshivas of the Derabanan. Here we're talking about you didn't lower the cheshivas of the Derabanan at all. You just didn't know. So there's no shayig. So therefore you got hana. So retroactively you have to pay. Okay? Now, the Shach asks your question. The Shach says, yeah, but the value of the food is less. Right? Look at the packaging. You know, the Libras cookies. Pasakum, Bishlakum, Yoshan, Gebak, Dach, Pesach. Every Isser Derabanan on the book, you know, Loich Shash, Arla, Shvias, Chutzart. So, Lamaisa, the more words you can put on the package, the more expensive it is, right? So, if something which is kosher is more expensive than the thing which isn't. So, Frek the Shach, L'chayra, I still didn't benefit the same amount as I would have from the kosher food. Right? In the first pshat, so in the Isser Deraisa, so we're saying anyways, but in the Isser Derabanan that we're saying to pay, right? So the Shach has a whole fancy pshat. The Shach's pshat is that they only said the Isur. I don't really. You could think about this when you have a free time over Sunday and you're thinking about this Shach. But basically, what the Shach says is that they only made the Isurim Derabanan in the realm of your day. They didn't really make it in the realm of Chush Mishpah. So, like Gozer Isser Kedei Lahitzi Mammon. The Indian Mammon Ukmua Din Derais. It's a Shach in your day. It's not a Shach here. That as to go ahead and use this to Derabanan to manipulate to get your money back. Chazal never implement. It's not even us to Derabanan klapi that. It's a very hard concept that he's saying. He's saying that the Isser Derabanan was they made it. That it's only nogea if the question at hand is, are you going to eat it or not? But if the question is, how much money you owe for it, we don't go with this or that one.
The problem with that is that it does have two different. The
it
fact
doesn't
is,
do two
Hershey's
values.
chocolate costs less than the Lieber's chocolate. It's not necessarily because it's the halachic status of it. The fact is, the market dictates that the Lieber's cost more.
Okay,
so you might say the din derabanan just was what caused the market price to fluctuate, but the market price does fluctuate.
Well, if you say like the nesivos, so then it doesn't really change the food. It's just klape, you did something against the rabbanan. So then the food is the same thing.
What do you mean?
That the food is not really, the fact that you can't eat the food is not really because the food is any different.
Right.
So you did get the value.
You got the value. It just right. He's asking probably more of a technical question, but now. One second. So there's a shaila in the Poskim. There's a shaila in the Poskim by the Isser Derabanan that you don't know taina, you have to pay for it. What happens if you didn't pay it? You ate it, but you didn't pay. So obviously, in the case of this Deraisa, you don't have to pay. What about this derabanan? What about this derabanan? You ate it and you didn't pay yet. Do you have to now pay? So how do we come out that it's telling? It should come out. It's but according to the
if you hold it, it's not l'chaytzi moment, so this I'm now l'maytzi. So if you go with the
right, and as according to the Sma, it would, according to this Nesivus, the Chayr would still apply. Even into the Issus, you got Tana, you should pay for it. According to the Shach, it would depend. Like you have to know what did they establish the Isser Klavi this or not. But and it's an interesting Shiloh. So a lot of offshoots of the Shiloh. For example, any Chumrah or anything like this, I bought it. I thought it was Chalav Yisrael. It's not Chalav Yisrael. Okay, but let's say you bought an esrog in a box, geschmack, and it's not what you thought it was. Okay, so go return it, get something else. But it's already after Sukkot. It's after Sukkot. Now you cut it open, and it's not morkov, but it's not a chazanish esrog because it's a different type of esrog. You can tell from the way the seeds are. So it's not a deraisa. It's just I wanted this. So, Mr. you got the anah of it already, right? You got the anah, you use it the whole sukkis, and now it's not what you thought it was, it's too late. Now the question is, could you say, well, I only got the anah
of it steered my yontif retroactively.
What?
Now I'm bothered. It steered my yontif. I thought I had a geschmack. Now I wasn't.
Okay, but that stare is like the same as it's like the Zarabana. It's not this. It's a deraisa. So you don't have a taina. And then you have
even though I paid extra,
which is is that you told people that it was a $300 esrog. It doesn't matter if it actually wasn't.
You presented.
So you got the full anah. But anyway. So this is interesting Shiloh, another
you
example.
never would have paid that amount. Regardless of the fact that it was 300, you know.
yeah, but for the whole stam, I wouldn't have paid that amount either.
No, I wouldn't have paid it for a chazanish. I wouldn't have paid it for the other.
You're saying if Be'etzem has a different market value.
To me.
Yeah, but
I'm not sure that's any different than this Darbona. In other words, at the end of the day, if after Sukkot you wake up and realize it's not what it was, if you were Yoitza the mitzvah deraisa, but you didn't Yoitza your Hidder, I don't know if that's enough to claim any money.
Hidder, a person that's I pay extra money.
It's my hang-up. It's not whatever it is. It's not more than this with Darbona.
That's why.
It's not more than Bishul Hakum.
But I paid you, but
yeah, but I
this.
bought Chalav Yisrael chocolate thinking that it's kosher and thinking that it's more mahuded than Chalav Stam.
So maybe I'll go for you.
Going back to the Shach's Kasha, which is fine, you got Hana, but evaluate, you should have to evaluate what the worth of your Hana was. Now, you definitely can't say, I didn't get Hana, there's a Knas, you sold me the wrong thing, I want my money back. I gave you an esrog for the whole sukkah, you're here to the mitzvah.
Right, so
now, you're saying that we should have to evaluate. Had you known what this was, what this actually was, what was the value of that retract? That's the Shach's question, which is a kasha on the Sif
you don't want to get back. You don't want to get back all the money because then it's not lochem. Then you're
right.
So you don't want your money
making
back.
too much of a problem, you're ending up with a bigger problem.
Shabbos was the reason was Shabbos.
Right, the first day was Shabbos. So I don't care about that. Right? So, okay, so we'll talk about a few other cases that fall under this category. Okay.
Most is your achila probably.
Thank you, Rabbi.
How you doing?
Stop it.
Nope.
All right.
1 second.